Alright, Raiders fans, I left you hanging on who the Raiders had signed this year, but it is finally time for the big reveal. Las Vegas has officially been graced with the legend of... The fuck is this? The year is 2005. Michigan State is coming off a 5-7 season where they were led by quarterback Drew Stanton, who finished 2004 with just over 1,600 yards, completing 64% of his passes. So what does this have to do with the Raiders? Well, if you give me a minute, I'll tell you. The 2005 season would once again be led by Drew Stanton, who would throw for over 3,000 yards, completing nearly 67% of his passes. However, the Spartans would be introduced to their newest QB by the name of Brian Hoyer. He would only play in 5 games that season, but he did go 15 for 23, picking up 167 yards. Yes, Raiders fans, this is your legend. Michigan State would finish 5-6 in 2005. 2006 would be a step back for the Spartans, only finishing 4-8. Drew Stanton would regress to only throw 1,800 yards this year, allowing Hoyer to improve to 863 yards in 8 games. 2007, however, would finally be time for Hoyer to become the official starter. Drew Stanton would be drafted in the second round to the Detroit Lions. 2007 is regarded as the greatest college football season ever, but we're not here to talk about that today. The Hoyer-led Spartans would go 7-6 on the year and would play in the Champs Sports Bowl against Boston College. The Spartans would lose 24-21, but it's important to note that Boston College was led by QB Matt Ryan, who would be drafted 3rd overall by the Falcons in 2008.
Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Brady has his 5th! What a comeback!
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Edelman comes down with a football and they're saying it's a catch.
Brian Hoyer would throw for 2,725 yards and 20 touchdowns, but would only complete 59% of his passes. Now, I briefly went over Brian Hoyer's stats as a backup, so it's only fair I go over the backup to Hoyer. You may know him from this play.
4th and goal. And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Foles would only play 1 game in 2007, going 5 for 8 with 57 yards. Michigan State would once again improve in 2008, going 9-4, as Hoyer would throw for 2,404 yards and 9 touchdowns. Nick Foles would transfer to Arizona, though he wouldn't play until 2009. More on that later. Hoyer and the Spartans would appear in the Capital One Bowl, but would fall 24-12 to a Georgia team led by quarterback Matthew Stafford and wide receiver A.J. Green. With the departure of Nick Foles, Michigan State would need a new face behind Hoyer. Meet Kirk Cousins.
You like that? You like that?
He would play in 5 games and throw for 310 yards. Foles would finally play for Arizona in 2009, throwing for 2,486 yards and 19 touchdowns. Hoyer would go undrafted in 2009, but would sign with the New England Patriots, playing in 5 games, throwing for 142 yards. His action would be limited though, only playing in 13 games the first 3 seasons of his career. He would then play 2 games for Arizona in 2012 before finding his way to Cleveland in 2013. He only played 5 games in this 2-year stretch, but things were about to change. And not just for Brian Hoyer. The Browns would name Brian Hoyer the starter for the 2014 season as they tried to develop rookie Johnny Manziel out of Texas A&M. This was the first time Hoyer would be named the official starter in the NFL, but for Cleveland, it was just another name on the infamous quarterback jersey. December 2014. The Browns were 7-6 with the hopes of a playoff berth, while Slim still alive. Hoyer was averaging about 246 yards per game with 3,192 yards on the season. He only had 11 touchdowns at this point, but let's not forget, this is the Browns.
You are a factory of sadness!
Cleveland can argue that Hoyer is their best quarterback since Bernie Kosar, and that the team was playing their best football since 2008 when they went 10-6 with one of the worst NFL rosters ever assembled. Week 14, however, would see the first official start for Johnny Manziel.
Manziel fares any better with him.
Out of his pistol, Manziel keeper, and Manziel is buried. Wallace Gilberry. Manziel's going to keep. Back to throw. Looking, and it's going to be intercepted. It's intercepted by Dre Kirkpatrick. A lot of time. Stepping up, in trouble, gets away, slings it end zone in traffic. Intercepted by Jones. Ill-advised throw, and Adam Jones picks it off.
The passes back here.
All right, Pam, we will see here. Looks like a little zone read, and that's going to go for maybe a loss.
Playing with rookies, you're going to take your knocks, and they sure are.
Another third down. Four-man rush. Manziel goes down.
They know that their hopes rise on someone playing well as he goes down again in the pocket and uses the run and the improvisational skills as if all else fails.
And here he's in trouble, and down he goes with the sack.
You are a factory of sadness!
Hoyer would finish the season with 3,326 yards and 12 touchdowns. The Browns would finish the season 7-9. 2015 would see Hoyer in Houston, where he would start 9 games, throwing for 2,606 yards and 19 touchdowns, but would once again bounce around the league as a journeyman for Chicago, New England, San Francisco, and Indianapolis. He would appear for New England in 2017, 2018, and 2020. Hoyer would remain with the Patriots before finding his way to Las Vegas for the 2023 season. So why did I make a video dedicated to Brian Hoyer? Well, as a Browns fan, I remember watching him play and how even though we knew it was another wasted year, there was potential for him and the team. I wanted to go to Browns games just to see the guy play. I think it's also important to look at his time in Cleveland and say there was talent there. Maybe not the entire team, but for Hoyer specifically, he was not the biggest problem the Browns had. I get that 2014 was a career year for him, but think about what could have been if Cleveland hadn't started Manziel in Week 14. Sure, they may have missed the playoffs anyway, but would they lose 30-0? What if he returned in 2015, allowing Manziel more time to develop as a player? Yes, I know he was a fucking idiot off the field, but that's not important. Maybe the Browns actually field a competitive team and make the AFC Championship. Even if the core never wins a Super Bowl, it's better than what happened in 2017. And yes, the 2008 Lions were worse because the Browns were built to lose, whereas Detroit just fucking sucked. Thanks for watching.